The film starts with a trivia night competition at a bar. Two teams are competing, and the most competitive members from each team, Max and Annie, meet when they answer the same question correctly. The two are instantly struck and start dating as they start beating their friends during their game nights until Max proposes to Annie during a game of charades, and the two later get married and play each other at a dancing game. In the present day, Max and Annie are trying to have kids, but when they visit Dr. Chin, they learn that they are having trouble conceiving, which is attributed to Max feeling stressed out lately. Annie figures that Max is stressing over his older and more successful brother Brooks, who is visiting that night, and he has always been upstaging Max throughout their lives. Max and Annie return home to prepare for their game night later that evening. They run into their creepy neighbor Gary, who used to attend game nights with his wife Debbie until their divorce. Everyone finds him weird and annoying, so his only company is his dog, Bastian. Gary notices they are setting up for a game night, but the couple denies it so they won't have to invite him. Max feels bad for Gary and thinks they should invite him, but Annie refuses as he is a creepy guy, and they put up with him because she is a close friend of Debbie. Max tells Annie that he informed their friends to park their cars away and sneak in quietly, to not get noticed by Gary. The couple's friends arrive later that night, and they sneak in through the window. There are childhood sweethearts Kevin and Michelle, and dim-witted Ryan, who brings a pretty but equally dim date, and the others point out that he always loses because he brings dumb girls with him. The friends have a great time playing all sorts of games until Max's brother Brooks shows up in a Stingray, which is Max's dream car. This makes it obvious to Gary that Max and Annie lied to him and did not invite him to the game night. When Brooks joins the game, he takes over and interrupts it by telling the party about an embarrassing story from Max's childhood when he supposedly tried to blow himself. This throws Max off his game and he and Annie lose. Brooks then invites everyone to go to his house the next week for game night. Annie becomes upset because she feels Brooks is deliberately screwing with Max by showing up in his dream car and insulting their house, and telling an embarrassing story about Max to throw him out of the game. She then realizes why Max is stressed about his brother, and that is ruining their chances of conceiving. She supports Max in taking Brooks down the following week. During the next game night, everyone shows up at Brooks's fancy house. Ryan brings a new woman from work named Sarah, whom he brought because she is significantly smarter than all the other girls he's brought with him. Brooks mentions that his party is going to be epic as one of them will be kidnapped by the next hour, and the rest of them have to find it before it's too late. Everyone gets excited about that murder mystery party, and Brooks mentions he found a company that uses really good actors to stage their shows and they are not gonna know what's real and what's fake. And the winners get Brooks's Stingray, which gives Max more of an incentive to win. He then starts the party off by having everyone do a drinking game of Never Have I Ever. When the matter of sleeping with a celebrity is mentioned, Michelle takes a drink, which makes Kevin feel insecure as he didn't know about this the whole time they were together. Moments later, a man shows up claiming himself to be Agent Henderson and enters the house with FBI dossiers that will serve as clues that will lead them to go on a hunt for kidnappers. However, two real kidnappers break in, knock out Henderson, and start attacking Brooks. Brooks fights the two men all around the house while everyone thinks it's part of the game. Brooks is eventually taken, and the gang looks over the dossiers to read the clues. Max and Annie couldn't figure out the clue, and Max suspects that Brooks is setting him up. But Annie figures out another way to find Brooks. Meanwhile, Sarah finds Brooks's credit card and manages to get in touch with the people who made the game so that she and Ryan can get a step up. Kevin and Michelle are trapped in Brooks's office when Ryan leaves them in there as they have found a clue. Kevin tries to climb through the ceiling over a stack of boxes, causing him to topple over and knock the door open. Max and Annie are tracking Brooks's phone, and they find it in a dumpster. As they look around, they see one of the kidnappers walking into a bar. Max and Annie get inside looking for Brooks. Annie has taken a real gun that fell out of Brooks's pocket during the struggle, but she thinks it's a fake gun. In the bar, they see Brooks in the back room blindfolded. They immediately hold the men in the bar at gunpoint while they try to get to Brooks. When they find him, Brooks says none of this is part of the game and admits he isn't a venture capitalist but a smuggler and is in trouble with real bad guys. Annie then fools around with the gun until she fires it off and sees it's real. She accidentally shoots Max in the arm, causing him to bleed severely. The bad guys start to break in, so Max and Annie grab Brooks and run out. As they drive away, Brooks admits he buys and sells illegal things for people in the black market, and reveals he was hired by a crime boss called the Bulgarian, to help him find the Fabergé egg. Brooks eventually found it, but when another guy called Marlon Freeman offered to pay double the price, and he gave it to him. Now the Bulgarian guy's men are after him. The villains then find Max and Annie's car and go after them. Brooks jumps out of the car so that Max and Annie can get away, leading him to get taken again. Ryan and Sarah go to the publishing company and meet Glenda, who just came from a murder mystery party where she was the corpse, so she startles the two. They have to bribe her into giving up the next clue. Meanwhile, the actual actors playing kidnappers show up at Brooks's house, leading Kevin and Michelle to realize that everything that happened earlier was real. They get in touch with Ryan and Sarah after learning the truth. Max and Annie stop to buy supplies so that Annie can take care of Max's gunshot wound. It leads to her cutting into his bone, the two of them gagging uncontrollably, and then ultimately realizing that the bullet exited Max's arm earlier. The group gathers at Max and Annie's house and plans to rescue Brooks, for which they have to find Marlon Freeman, an alias, and they have to find his real name and address. They figure out that the police criminal database has every known alias on it. The group all go to Gary's house since he's a cop and would have a computer that has information on the aliases Brooks told Max. They are forced to play Jenga with Gary while Max goes to his office to use the computer. The office is full of memorabilia of Gary and Debbie when they were married. Max learns that Marlon Freeman is a rich guy named Donald Anderton, while the Bulgarian has a long criminal history. Bastian then wanders into the room as Max's arm drips blood onto the carpet, and then onto the dog. Max tries to clean it off but only makes things worse. He then rounds everyone up to leave. The kidnappers call Max and warn him that they'll kill Brooks within less than an hour if they don't deliver the egg. The group arrives at Anderton's home to find the egg. Anderton is holding a fight club in the basement, which Ryan and Sarah watch while the others go look for the egg. During their search, after much badgering over the matter, Michelle finally admits to Kevin that the celebrity she slept with was Denzel Washington. She recounts the story and even has a picture until Kevin has to tell her that it wasn't Denzel, but a guy who looks a lot like him. Meanwhile, Max and Annie bring up the matter of having a kid, which seems like less of something Max wants, which Annie deduces is because he wishes he were more like Brooks. Ryan spots the egg in a vault and goes to grab it while everyone watches the fight. Unfortunately, he is spotted, and he runs away with the egg. Anderton's guards chase the group as they run around the house with the egg, but they finally manage to take it and leave the house. The group arrives at the bridge where they must meet the kidnappers, but Kevin hits the brakes too hard, and the egg goes flying and shatters against the dashboard. They notice that something was inside the egg, a list of people in witness protection. The group approaches the kidnappers with the paper, and they force the group to get on the ground. While they speak to their employer, Brooks apologizes to Max for how he treated him and for lying to him. He tells Max the keys to the Stingray are in his jacket pocket. The kidnappers then decide to execute the group until Gary arrives and shoots them. Gary figured that something suspicious was up with the group with how they acted all night. One of the kidnappers then shoots Gary. Max and Annie go to help him until Max notices a blood capsule fall out of Gary's mouth. He reveals that he hired the kidnappers to take over Brooks's game night so that he can get back in the game. When the group hands him the list, Gary says he wasn't in on that. Then, the Bulgarian appears with his bodyguard and shoots Gary for real. Brooks swallows the list, so the villains take Brooks with them to their jet. Max and Annie run to Brooks's house to take the Stingray and drive to the jet. As the jet is preparing to fly, Max manages to take out the wheels and cause the jet to go down. The Bulgarian's guard goes after the couple. Annie tries to distract the guard while Max goes to save Brooks. Max fights the Bulgarian while Annie is held at gunpoint by the guard. In the fight, the turbines go on, causing the guard to get sucked in and get shredded. Annie then knocks out the Bulgarian with a fire extinguisher, and the two of them free Brooks. He tries to play it off like this was also part of the game, but he's just kidding. 3 months later, the gang gathers at Brooks's house for game night since he is serving 3 years of house arrest. He says it's not all bad since he sold the list on the black market for $3 million and also tipped off the people on that list for $20,000. The group even has Gary rejoin them, but he still sucks at the games. They play Pictionary, and Annie uses it to announce to Max that she is pregnant. The two of them embrace while their friends congratulate them. We then pan outside to see two guys in masks with guns preparing to go into the house. During the credits, we see the man that Michelle mistook for Denzel meeting Gary's ex-wife, Debbie. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to watch more videos like this.